Good afternoon. This is the first part of a 4-part episode about fiber. Fiber, the most misunderstood nutrient on the table. We've all been told, eat more fiber. It's good for your gut, for your heart, for your weight, and for your blood sugar, even your lifespan. But what if I told you that most of that advice came from association, not proof? Let's untangle that myth and the science, because fiber is definitely very much misunderstood. What exactly is fiber? Fiber is that part of the plant that actually laughs at your digestive enzyme. Everything else, your carbohydrates, your protein, your fats, they get digested. Fiber doesn't. It's the stubborn guest that refuses to leave early. It travels through your stomach and small intestine untouched, only starting the real party in your large intestine, where your gut bacteria take over. That's right, fiber doesn't feed you, it feeds them, the trillions of microbes that quietly manage your metabolic health. But not all the fibers are the same. Some fibers act like sponges, dissolving in water to form a gel. Others behave like tiny brooms, sweeping through your gut and cleaning as they go. Some fibers ferment and produce short-chain fatty acids such as butyrate, which are tiny molecules that work like vitamins for your colon. Let's break it down. Insoluble fibers are the roughage. Think of them as the scaffolding for your stool, found in vegetable skins, nuts, and seeds. They add bulk and they keep you regular. Soluble viscous fibers are the gel makers. Things like oats, apples, psyllium husk. They slow the digestion and reduce the sugar spike, and they can even lower cholesterol. Fermentable fibers are gut microbiome fuel. Beans, onions, cooled rice, fermented to create butyrate, the colon's favorite snack. Now, resistant starches are the smart carbohydrates. When you cook and cool things like potatoes or rice, the starch reorganizes itself, becoming resistant to digestion and effectively turning into fiber. Cold potato salad, that's science on a plate. So why is there a confusion? Because fiber isn't a single molecule, it's a family of them. Different shapes, different jobs, different effects. And the evidence behind fiber's supposed superpowers, such as weight loss, glucose control, heart protection, cancer protection, that isn't as strong as we've been led to believe. Much of it comes from association or epidemiology. People who eat more fiber also tend to sleep better, smoke less, exercise more. So that's a healthy user bias. So when we say fiber eaters live longer, that might not be the fiber alone. It might be the kind of people who eat fiber, but let's not throw the broccoli out with the bathwater. Yes, some evidence is weak, but fiber still does things no supplement or pill can. It slows down your sugar curve like a gentle ramp instead of a roller coaster. It captures bile like a sponge, helping your liver pull cholesterol from the bloodstream. And it trains your gut microbes the way strength training builds your muscle. You wouldn't skip leg day, so don't skip feeding your gut. So today's takeaway, fiber isn't one nutrient, it's a toolbox. Each tool does a different job. Knowing which tool you're using and why, because eating fiber without understanding, it's like trying to fix your car with random spanners. In the next episode or part, we'll go a little bit deeper into how fiber really impacts weight, blood sugar, cholesterol, and cancer, and what the evidence truly says. Welcome to part 2 of Fiber Talks, fiber and the 4 big health claims. What the science really says. This is FSD Doctor Talks. Following on from part 1, we're talking a little bit more about fiber. We have all heard it. Fiber helps you lose weight, fiber keeps your sugar steady, fiber lowers your cholesterol, and fiber prevents bowel cancer. But how much of that is real science and how much is wishful thinking? Let's break that down. I'm taking cues from some of the talks and research done by Dr. Peter Attia. The way he breaks it down, claim by claim, mechanism by mechanism, with the evidence laid bare. Claim number 1, weight loss. Viscous fibre, the kind you find in oats, apples, or psyllium husk, acts like a slow release button for your stomach. It forms a soft gel that delays how quickly food leaves your stomach, giving your brain time to catch up and say, I'm full. Does it burn fat on its own? Not quite, but it helps you eat less without trying. In the studies quoted, adding viscous fibre to meals reduces calorie intake by about 100 to 200 calories a day. That's a quiet progress. It's not a crash diet. Now coming to insoluble fibre, the roughage type that provides bulk, but its effect on appetite is fleeting. It fills you up, but the feeling doesn't last. Now fermentable fibres, they take another route. They feed the gut bacteria, producing short-chain fatty acids such as butyrate. This butyrate triggers hormones like GLP-1 and PYY, the same hormones targeted by modern weight loss drugs. Think of them as the natural, gentler version of a GLP-1 agonist. So in summary, viscous fibre does the heavy lifting. Fermentation adds a little boost, and insoluble fibres just provide the texture. Claim 2, glycaemic control. When you add fibre to a carbohydrate meal, it works like putting a speed limiter on your sugar curve. The viscous fibres slow gastric emptying, meaning glucose enters your bloodstream gradually instead of all at once. So there are fewer spikes and fewer crashes. Imagine traffic lights spacing out cars on a motorway. That's what fibre does for your blood sugar. Just remember, the fibre needs to be in the gut before the carbs arrive. You take it too late and you miss the window. It's like showing up after the train's already left. In controlled trials, 4 grams of beta-glucan, that's roughly a small bowl of oats, lowered glucose peaks by about 30%. 6 to 8 grams cut them nearly in half. For people with type 2 diabetes, long-term studies have shown that soluble fibre can drop HbA1c by 0.4%. It's not as dramatic as metformin, but meaningful. So fibre isn't a cure, but it's a remarkably low-risk lever for smoother glucose control. Now claim 3, cholesterol and heart health. Here's where fibre turns into a natural mini statin. When you eat a fatty meal, your liver releases bile acids, which are made from cholesterol, to help digest the fats. Viscous fibre binds those bile acids and escorts them out through your stool. So your liver has to make more bile, and to do that, it pulls cholesterol from your blood. So the LDL goes down. Across studies, each gram of viscous fibre lowers LDL by about 2 milligrams per deciliter. That's about 10 to 15% improvement. Not a miracle, but really it's a measurable drop. Dr. Attia describes fibre as a weak but reliable ally, not a replacement for statins or the newer PCSK9 inhibitors, but they partner with the fibre to work better, sometimes allowing for lower drug doses. So think of fibre as the assistant coach. It can't win the game, but it helps your star players perform at their best. Claim 4, colon cancer prevention. Now we're entering a bit of murkier waters, where the mechanism looks promising, but the proof is still developing. When gut bacteria ferment fibre, they create butyrate, the colon's primary energy source. Butyrate strengthens the gut wall, reduces inflammation, and encourages cells to self-destruct before they become cancerous. So, studies have actually proven in animals that more butyrate means fewer tumors. The evidence in human subjects is suggestive, but it's not conclusive. So, large observational studies have shown that people eating around 40 grams of fibre per day have about 25% lower risk of colorectal cancer. But again, correlation is not causation. Those high fibre eaters, they often smoke less, they move more, they eat fewer ultra-processed foods, so it's hard to separate fiber from their lifestyle. Still, the biology makes sense. Fiber shortens transit time, binds harmful bile acids, and literally sweeps potential carcinogens out of the colon faster. So, while we can't call it a cancer shield, it's actually a good, smart insurance policy with very little downside. So, where does that leave us? Across these 4 claims, that is weight loss, sugar, cholesterol, and cancer, fiber's benefits are modest. They are measurable and they are mechanistically sound, but they are additive, not transformational. What that means is that you won't replace medication with fiber, but you might reduce your need for it. You won't lose 10 kilos overnight, but you'll make your metabolism a little steadier, your heart a little happier, and your gut a lot more resilient. In the exact words of Dr. Peter Attia, fiber is one arrow in the quiver. Useful, dependable, but not the only tool. In the next episode, we'll talk about how to use fiber, the right types, the timing, the combinations, and why whole foods still beat supplements. I'm Dr. Hafees Saleem, and you've been watching part 2 of FSD Doctor Talks episode on fiber. Drive safe, eat smart, and feed your microbes responsibly. Thank you. Please watch all the episodes. Looking forward, we will have episode part 3 and 4 on fiber coming through soon. Please put any questions or comments down, and please ask questions about future episodes that we could concentrate on. I've had lots of feedback from some of my patients, and I'm going to try and include some of those concepts into the episodes coming up. This is part 3 of a 4-part series about fiber. This is called Fiber in Real Life, How to Use It, Not Abuse It. So far, we've talked about what fiber is and what it can do. Now let's actually talk about how to use it without turning your gut into a chemistry experiment gone wrong. Because too much fiber too fast and your insides will sound like an orchestra tuning up after lunch. Step 1. Ditch the one-size-fits-all idea. Fiber isn't a rule book, it's a toolkit, and every gut needs a different tool set. Dr. Peter Attia describes it as 4 overlapping categories, a simple, practical framework worth remembering. 1. Viscous fibers. These are your gel builders. Psyllium husk, oats, apple, pectin. They slow digestion, they reduce sugar spikes and help pull cholesterol from circulation. 2. Rapidly fermentable fibers. These are your gut starters. Beans, onions, apples. They feed the bacteria quickly and make short-chain fatty acids that calm inflammation. 3. Slowly fermentable fibers. Think resistant starches from cooled potatoes, cooled rice. They feed bacteria deeper in the colon, keeping the lower gut ecosystem alive and diverse. And number 4, insoluble fibers. The broomsticks, the vegetable skins, the nuts, the seeds, and the bran. They keep the traffic flowing, they prevent constipation and clear waste efficiently. You don't actually need to count grams from each group, just build variety across the week. Your microbes thrive on diversity, not perfection. In step 2, timing matters. Viscous fibers work best when taken with a meal or up to half an hour before. That's when they absorb water and form a soft gel that slows gastric emptying. If you take them after you've finished eating, it's like trying to put the brakes on a car that's already parked. A rough rule of thumb is to use about 4 grams of viscous fiber for every 30 grams of carbohydrates. So that's roughly a tablespoon of psyllium husk with a carb-heavy meal. You'll feel fuller, your blood sugar will rise more gently, and your pancreas will breathe a sigh of relief. Step 3. Food processing makes a difference. Instant oats, they cook quickly because their structure has already been broken down. But that same processing destroys much of the viscosity that gives oats their power. So the less processed the fiber, the more it works. Rolled oats beat instant oats, and whole apples beat juice. and beans beat powders every time. Now also interestingly, some processing can actually help. As I mentioned in the last episode, if you cook and cool some of your starches overnight like rice, potatoes, pasta, they form a resistant starch or a natural prebiotic that your gut bacteria adore. Cold potato salad is not just leftovers, it's prebiotic medicine. Step 4. Build tolerance gradually. If you've been eating very little fiber, jumping straight to 40 grams a day will feel like airlifting a marching band into your belly. Go really slow. Increase over several weeks, not overnight. Your gut microbiome needs time to adapt to its new workload. And don't forget water. Psyllium husk soaks up about 40 times its weight in water. No hydration and that lovely gel turns into concrete. So fiber and water are teammates. Never one without the other. Step 5. Respect your individuality. Some people tolerate beans and onions beautifully. Others feel like they've swallowed a hot air balloon. That's your FODMAP sensitivity, a reminder that your gut chemistry is unique. If certain fibers bloat you, try switching to low fermentable ones such as psyllium or resistant starches instead. They're actually gentler but still effective. Your goal isn't to eat the most fiber from each group, it's to find the right fiber and the right mix. And just on that, step 6, think total, not the ratio. Forget the old 3:1 insoluble to soluble ratio. That figure came from what healthy people happen to eat and not from cause and effect trials. What matters is total daily fiber and variety. Aim for at least 25 grams a day, ideally 30 to 40 from whole foods. If you're highly active or eating 3000 calories a day, you might want to edge closer to 50 grams. But don't chase the numbers, chase consistency. Small amounts every day work far better than heroic weekend salads. So space it out. In summary, fiber isn't a magic bullet. It's a steady hand. It smooths the edges of your metabolism. It feeds the tiny creatures that keep your gut alive and helps your body run a cleaner, calmer, and makes it more predictable. It doesn't need to be complicated. Eat real food, mix plant textures, hydrate, and go slow. And if you find the right balance, your gut will thank you quietly, efficiently, every single day. Lovely Thursday morning, coming to part 4 of the episode on fiber. This is called Fiber, the Finishing Touch, Smart Use and Real Results. By now, we've already covered what fiber is and what it does and how to use it wisely. So let's finish strong with the real world details that make all the difference. Because it's not just what you eat, it's how you use it, when you take it, and what you combine it with. Let's start with the big debate. Supplements versus whole foods. Fiber supplements can be powerful tools. Psyllium husk, for example, keeps its gel forming magic even in powdered form. It's reliable, predictable, and easy to measure. But not all fibers survive processing so well. Take beta-glucan, the cholesterol-lowering hero from oats. When oats are milled into instant versions, the molecules shear down and lose their viscosity. So while your packet might say high fiber, the functionality is not the same. Whole foods win because they deliver fiber in its natural matrix, alongside vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, and water content. That mix shapes digestion, feeds your microbiome in layers, and keeps your body's rhythm steady. So supplements can fill the gap, but they shouldn't replace the source. Think of fiber supplements like protein powder. Handy, efficient, but no substitute for real food. But what about processed foods with added fiber? You'll see bars and shakes shouting 10 grams of fiber on the label. It sounds healthy until you realize most contain cheap, easily fermented fibers that actually cause bloating or discomfort and offer very little of the slow release viscosity that helps glucose or cholesterol. The food matrix matters more than the number on the box. If you can peel it, chop it or cook it, it's likely to be the better choice. Now let's talk medication timing, because this one is easily overlooked. Viscous fibers can trap medications in their gel as they move through your gut, slowing down how fast these drugs get absorbed into your body. For most people, that delay means very little. But if you're taking medications that rely on stable levels like thyroxine, anti-epileptics, antibiotics or blood thinners, the timing matters. Leave a gap of 2 to 3 hours between those medications and your fiber supplement. That way the medicine gets where it needs to go and the fiber still does its job later. It's not dangerous, it's just about precision. As I tell my patients, space them out, not throw them out. Hydration, the often forgotten partner. Every gram of viscous fiber can soak up to 40 ml of water. That's like a sponge expanding 40 times its size. It's wonderful for stool softness, disastrous if your glass stays empty. Without enough fluid, that gel turns into a plug, not a flow. So whenever you increase fiber, increase your water with it. Simple, consistent, automatic. And if you're using psyllium husk, stir it into a full glass. Drink it straight away, then follow it with another half glass of water. It's the difference between smooth sailing and digestive gridlock. Now, just talking about tolerability and gut sensitivity, people sometimes give up on fiber because it makes them bloat. That's usually a speed problem. It's not a fiber problem. When you ramp up too fast, your gut bacteria throw a party that you didn't plan for. Start small and give it a week, then nudge it up again. But if you're dealing with irritable bowel syndrome or FODMAP sensitivity, stick to slower fermenting options like psyllium, oats or cool starches. And please avoid the fast fermenting ones like onions or apples. Your gut microbiome adapts like muscles do. Progressive overload, not punishment. The big takeaway is moderation, variety and purpose. Fiber is the quiet professional of nutrition. It doesn't scream for attention, but when it's missing, everything feels off. Your blood sugar swings more, your gut slows down, and your appetite misfires. It's not the hero of the story, but it's the scaffolding that keeps the whole building upright. You don't always need 50 grams a day or a cupboard full of powders. You need regularity, diversity, and awareness. Fiber in your oats, fiber in your veggies, fiber in your cooked rice salad, fiber in your rhythm. And the final word borrowed from Dr. Peter Attia's lens. The evidence for fiber isn't perfect, but its mechanisms are logical. Its benefits modest but consistent, and its risks are nearly zero. It's not that you have to eat fiber to be healthy, but you're actually leaving something on the table if you don't. Why wouldn't you include it? I'm Dr. Hafees Saleem, and you've been watching FSD Doctor Talks. Drive safe, eat real, and keep your microbes well fed. Thank you. Just remember that a lot of problems that we face nowadays with bowel irregularity and constipation is our reliance on ultra-processed foods, which is also the lack of fiber. So sometimes complementing extra fiber along with some of the foods that you have cravings for is actually a good way to balance your sugar, keep you from getting constipated. So just try and remember to maximize on fiber. Have some psyllium husk, have some chia seeds, and also think about the cooled starches like cooled pasta, cooled rice, and overnight potato salad. Thank you for watching, and please put questions or comments in the social media platforms so that I can answer anything that you would like to know, or if something doesn't make sense, please give me ideas for new episodes, something that may be more relevant to your health situation. I'm happy to go through it. I'm going to go through a few episodes and topics that I've had suggestions for. Feel free to contribute. feel free to share the videos around. Thank you for watching.